Pierhead's ferry terminal stands in a newly created landscape that's overlooked by the Three Graces, whose skyline is instantly recognisable to people around the world. But not so long ago the waterfront looked a lot different, with a series of roundabouts and roadways from where the trams and later bus routes radiated out across the city, has been transformed into a large open plaza where a 7-foot bronze statue of the Beatles is now a popular attraction, with people to have their photos taken with the Fab Four. The first landing stage, constructed in 1874, for many years had a tall wooden bell tower that guided the ferries to the stage when fog shrouded the river. The northern end was known as the Prince's Stage, which was used by the transatlantic liners. It's now the location of the cruise terminal, opened in 2007. In August 1911, ferry boats would have passed HMS Antrim, anchored in the river. She'd been dispatched by the government of the day after transport workers had gone on strike, a dispute that led to extra police and soldiers being drafted into Liverpool to patrol the streets during the unrest. The Cunard liner Lusitania at the stage must have been a very impressive sight. The vessel made her maiden voyage from Liverpool to New York in September 1907. A river scene from the 1920s as a Wallasey ferry boat makes its way past the Margling, moored at the Prince's Stage as she takes on passengers and cargo before sailing for Canada. By the 1930s, the Liverpool landing stage was a daily bottleneck for vehicles waiting to board a Birkenhead or Wallasey luggage boat. The congestion came to an end when the Queensway Road Tunnel opened in 1934, leaving the luggage boats to ferry the horse-drawn carts and petrol tankers that were prohibited from using the tunnel. Woodside has undergone many changes and has now become a quiet backwater, at the centre of which stands a large roundabout that's now used as a car park. This used to be the location of the Woodside Hotel, which at the turn of the 1900s overlooked a busy transport hub and the ferry. A short walk from the ferry stood the Woodside Railway Station. Today, redevelopment has transformed the area around the ferry's booking hall. The Woodside floating roadway in the 1920s and early 30s was a busy place as vehicles came and went from the luggage boats. It was a facility that went into a rapid decline after the opening of the Queensway Road Tunnel in July 1934. The goods ferry came to an end in 1941 due to the war. Scene dating from the 1880s of the Lancashire that was then operating on the Woodside to Liverpool crossing. The vessel was broken up in 1891. By then, the newly constructed Wirral, a twin screw steamer, had begun operating on the crossing. Birkenhead ferry boat in mid-river, and in the distance the cranes of Camelaird shipyard dominate the skyline. Laird, over an 8-year period beginning in 1925, constructed 2 luggage boats and 5 passenger vessels for the Birkenhead Corporation. Ferry passengers would have seen liners like the Reina del Pacifico moored in the river while the vessel waited for a berth at the Prince's Landing stage. By the late 1950s, Birkenhead's new diesel ferry boats were beginning to replace the old steam-powered vessels, the last of which was the Clawton, who went to the breakers in 1962.